Coming up on The Watchman, Israel strikes in Damascus for the first time in over a month. Plus, Recep Erdogan, the radical president of Turkey, bans all trade with Israel. This NATO member nation taking a very dark turn. Get all the breaking details next. Hey folks, Eric Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast. We've got a Ring of Fire update for you today. What is the Ring of Fire? Well, it's that Iranian-backed terror axis that surrounds Israel on all sides. We're talking Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas and Islamic Jihad in Gaza, the Houthis in Yemen, and those various Iranian-backed Shia militias in Iraq and Syria. Folks, they have been very active over the past 24 hours, as has Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Now, you may not have heard that name very much recently, but he's, I'd say, up to his old tricks vis-a-vis Israel and then some very important events in Turkey over the past 24 hours as well. And remember, NATO member nation, we call it on the newscast under Erdogan's radical rule, NINO, NATO in name only. We've got a breakdown for you in a minute. Before I get into it, quick reminder, folks, if you have not subscribed to the Watchman channel right here on YouTube, hey, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you get alerts every time a new video is posted. Hard to believe, but we're fast approaching 1 million subscribers for such a time as this. And I say that not for our glory or our edification, but because we seek to be a platform for truth in times that the prophet Isaiah described very accurately, where good is called evil and evil is called good. We're cutting through the clutter, and all from a biblical perspective. So be sure to subscribe. We'd love to have you here every day as watchmen and women on the wall. Okay, breaking news. When we're talking about that Ring of Fire, a crucial cog in it, of course, is Syria for a few reasons. Number one, the Assad regime is a sworn enemy of Israel. And number two, and even more importantly, the Iranian regime and Hezbollah have set up shop there in Syria at Israel's doorstep. That's why Israel has carried out hundreds, if not more, airstrikes against Iranian and Hezbollah assets in Syria over the past decade plus. And look, April 1st, folks, looms very large over the region still, where Israel eliminated Mohammad Reza Zahavi and a number of other top Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps generals in Damascus, Syria, where they had been convening. And of course, we know the after effects of that. April 13th, 2024, where the Iranian regime, in response to that attack on April 1st, carries out an unprecedented barrage against Israel. Over 300 projectiles, missiles, attack drones that Israel and its allies, miraculously, by the way, intercepted at a 99% clip. That brings us all to the events overnight, May 3rd, early Friday morning, where Israel, for the first time since that April 1st strike, carried out a major strike yet again near Damascus. Now, the target this time was a building, a Syrian security services building, basically controlled by the Assad regime, but which had the double purpose of being used by Hezbollah as a base of operations. So Israel struck this building reportedly. Israel does not confirm or deny, that is their MO, struck this building and reportedly wounded some 8 Syrian regime soldiers. Now, we don't expect here, folks, the kind of response that we saw obviously in the wake of April 1st, where Iran felt like it had to respond and they launched this all-out barrage at Israel. We don't expect that. This strike last night kind of kept true to form to the majority of strikes we've seen carried out by Israel over the past decade or so. But significant in that it shows this. In the wake of April 1st, that major strike, which again took out several top Islamic Revolutionary Guards generals, and then Iran responded, and the region was on the brink of an all-out war, absolute tinderbox, it shows you that Israel is not shying away. Even with all that in the background, Israel is not shying away from doing what it needs to do to preserve the security of the world's one and only Jewish state. So you can expect these strikes in Syria against Iranian and Hezbollah and Assad regime assets to continue, because to not do that would completely expose Israel, number one, to weapon shipments from Iran transiting through Syria to be used against Israel. And number two, it would enable Iran and its allies to just butt right up against that Israel-Syria border and create further havoc there. That's a non-starter for Israel. It's an absolute red line. So expect those strikes in Syria to continue. Okay, as we take a tour around that ring of fire, number two, Hezbollah. Today, as I come to you Friday, May 3rd, as Shabbat has already begun in Israel, Hezbollah today launched another 10 rockets and also some attack drones at northern Israel. So the status quo, a very violent status quo, continues there on the Israel-Lebanon border, where Hezbollah is firing rockets, missiles, and drones. Israel is responding with some pretty heavy airstrikes, by the way, that have gone deeper into Lebanon as the weeks have gone on. And folks, all of this, of course, is leading up to what we've called here in the newscast the coming Great Northern War. Eventually, Israel will be forced to face off with Hezbollah in a major way to the north. We know that's coming, but in the meantime, to the south, another ring on that ring of fire, Gaza, Hamas in particular. Right now, Israel reportedly has laid down the gauntlet to Hamas. Israeli leaders are saying, look, you have 1 week to either agree to a ceasefire and release hostages, or we're coming into Rafah, of course, that last stronghold for Hamas fighters. So, folks, there you have it. 1 week, an ultimatum has reportedly been given by Israel. 1 week for Hamas either to give up a good amount of those hostages, at least 30 to 40, according to most reports out of the region, or Hamas rejects the ceasefire offer out of hand, and then we have an intensification of things in Gaza where Israel says, okay, now we are truly going into Rafah to finish the job of crushing Hamas decisively once and for all. So that's the Gaza ring. And then the last ring that we need to mention, the Houthis in Yemen. Remember them? They're still very, very active, causing havoc against shipping in the Red Sea. Well, now this Iranian-backed terror proxy based in Yemen is threatening to strike shipping in the Mediterranean Sea as well. Folks, this is what happens when the free world does not stand up to a ragtag group of Iranian-backed terrorists in Yemen and allows this jihadist group to continue to wreak havoc. A stop should have been put to this months ago. Obviously, what the U.S. and the U.K. have done, these limited airstrikes against Houthi targets, the Houthis haven't gotten the memo. Let's just leave it there. So they will continue until they are decisively and forcefully sent a very clear message. Does that include not just targeting Houthi launching sites, but perhaps targeting Houthi terrorists themselves? We shall see, because again, these attacks continue unabated to the point where, as I just mentioned, the Houthis want to expand their theater of operations beyond just that immediate Red Sea vicinity. Okay, last update for you. This is not a charter member of that Iranian-backed Ring of Fire, but it operates at times in tandem with and parallel to, certainly in agreement with that Ring of Fire. And I'm talking about Turkey. Now, folks, we've documented here for you over the years on the Watchman newscast the radical turn under Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the Turkish tyrant. It really intensified as well over the past few months with his all-out, full-throated support for Hamas, calling Hamas freedom fighters, holy warriors, calling Israel a terrorist state. The list goes on. Well, yesterday, things went to a new, dangerous level when Recep Tayyip Erdogan announced that Turkey was canceling all trade with Israel. Now, despite very tense relations since Erdogan took office over 20 years ago now, hard to believe, and he's probably not going anywhere if he has anything to say about it. Despite all that, Turkey and Israel continue to have pretty solid trade relations and are pretty major trade partners, and that totals into the billions of dollars each year. So this is a major step. For the first time in almost 76 years, Turkey cutting trade ties with Israel. Here's what Erdogan had to say about that.
Tüm Batı İsrail'e çalışıyor. Başta Amerika olmak üzere bunlar hep İsrail'e çalışıyorlar. Ve bu kadar imkanlar seferber edilerek ne yazık ki Filistin'in o garip kuraba, fakir, yoksul insanları İsrail'in bu bombaları karşısında ölüme mahkum edildiler. Ve bunun karşısında artık biz daha sabredemezdik ve adımlarımızı attık. Aramızda 9,5 milyar dolarlık bir ticaret hacmi vardı. Bu ticaret hacmini de biz yok farz ederek bu kapıyı kapattık.
So folks, just like that, in one fell swoop, Erdogan managed to blast the US, the entire West, and Israel. This is a harbinger of things to come in Turkey. I'm sad to say, folks, if you look at this big picture prophetically, we've talked about that coming war of Gog and Magog. Funny names, I know, but the book of Ezekiel chapters 38 and 39 lays that out very clearly when in the latter days, Ezekiel's words given to him by God Almighty, a coalition of nations will come against Israel. I believe Turkey will be alongside Iran and Russia, and they don't get very far. Spoiler alert, they meet their demise on the mountains of Israel. But know this, that Turkey will continue to turn into that Russia-Iran orbit, will continue to turn against the West and Israel. It's very clear, and it's amazing to see the prophetic chess pieces moving on the board. Hey, quick reminder before we go, make sure to tune in to my brand new TBN show, Stacklebeck Tonight, every weeknight, Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, with a re-air every night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you love the content we're covering here on The Watchmen, you will love our brand new nightly show, Stacklebeck Tonight. Hey, thanks so much for joining us here today on The Watchmen Newscast. Have a great weekend. Until next time, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchmen Newscast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload, and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. And don't forget to share your thoughts, insights, and comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.